things like technological change, things like mass media, things like the market are all subject to our control.
Since then, we established a liberal world order, and now is the time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there.
Look, I think that everyone is going to have to take a hard look at where they want to be at this moment in history, as we're looking at efforts across the country to prevent people from being able to exercise their fundamental rights.
The chair declares the joint session dissolved.
Where's the concern for the United States in that?
Well, it's not my concern.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order.
On December 11, 2017, Q posted, "Follow the wives." All the envelopes were delivered to the wives. And Anon asked Q what was in the envelopes. Q answered, "Our promise to counter." In 2020, Anon made a D5 connection, a declassified memorandum for the Director of National Intelligence, about the unmasking of General Flynn. The document's date is the 4th of May. 4 equals D, and May equals 5. Q replied, they thought it meant December 5th. On February 22, 2018, Q posted, "Fight, fight, fight." Q only posted that one other time in over 4,000 posts. When Trump was shot, and had Secret Service covering him, not knowing if there were more shooters, he broke protocol to put his head and fist up to say, "Fight, fight, fight." If he was going to die, he wanted those to be his last words.
Each of you enters service at a truly exciting time for our country. For we are witnessing the great reawakening. With this strategy, we are calling for a great reawakening of America. Now we are calling for a great reawakening of nations, for the revival of their spirits, their pride, their people, and their patriotism.
On September 19, 2017, Trump called for a great reawakening of nations in his UN speech. On October 6, 2017, Trump said it was the calm before the storm, and on October 28, 2017, Q dropped the first post.
You guys know what this represents? Well, maybe it's the calm before the storm.
What's the storm?
Could be the calm before the storm.
What storm is
We have the
President?
world's great military people in this room, I will tell you that. And we're going to have a great evening. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out. You guys know what this represents? And somebody that's been with me from day one, he's a real general. You know, we have the real generals and we have the fake woke generals that did so poorly in Afghanistan, should have all been fired, but this is a real general, Keith Kellogg. Right, Keith? And this is a great group. It's good to see you, Keith. He's been with me from before day one, right? He said, that guy should run. We got to get him to run. I like those guys. They were here before I ran. You know, there's quite a few of them. General Flynn, along with General Kellogg and some of our other friends. We have so many friends. We have over 200 generals and admirals supporting us now. We had 17 Congressional Medal of Honor winners endorse me. When I first came here, I was only in Washington 17 times in my life.
On December 9, 2017, at 10:34, Q posted a quote thanking the military. Then Q pointed us to timestamps, and let us know a proof was incoming. 3 hours later Trump tweeted the exact same thing without the quotation marks. Q quoted Trump's Army-Navy game tweet 3 hours before he posted it. On February 22, 2019, Q posted "The best is yet to come."
My fellow Americans, for our movement, for our children, and for our beloved country, and I say this despite all that's happened, the best is yet to come.
For we still believe that the best is yet to come.
On June 13, 2020, Q posted, "Seeing is believing. Sometimes you can't tell the public the truth, you must show them. Only then will people find the will to change. It had to be this way. This is not another 4-year election. 2020 to 2024 has been called the pause. Let the deep state steal 2020, and let the people see for themselves." In 2022, Trump confirmed it.
One of the important factors of the pause is that we see how bad they've done. So we will be able to do it properly, and it will be much easier. Everybody will agree with us because everybody sees what a bad job has been done during this 2-year period, and it will be a 4-year period. Everybody sees that. It will be much easier for us to do what has to be done.
Those text messages were sent from the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. "I looked at past inaugurations as far back as George Bush. Not once did the military walk up and stand behind the president. The man on the right is a judge advocate general, and the man on the left is military intelligence. What Trump says when they're standing behind him is also important."
Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning. Because today, we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another, or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people.
On November 1, 2017, Q posted, "The only way is the military, once 11.3 verifies as first marker." Some people assumed it was an arrest date, but they were way off. 11.3 is a section in the DoD Law of War Manual discussing belligerent occupation of a country. End of occupation and duration of Geneva Convention obligations. The status of belligerent occupation ends when the conditions for its application are no longer met. Certain Geneva Convention obligations with respect to occupied territory continue for the duration of the occupation after the general close of military operations. End of occupation. Belligerent occupation ceases when the conditions for its application are no longer met. In particular, as discussed below, the status of belligerent occupation ceases when the invader no longer factually governs the occupied territory or when a hostile relationship no longer exists between the state of the occupied territory and the occupying power. Belligerent occupation ends when the occupying power no longer has effectively placed the occupied territory under its control. For example, an uprising by the local population may prevent the occupying power from actually enforcing its authority over occupied territory. Similarly, the occupying power's expulsion or complete withdrawal from the territory would also suffice because the former occupying power generally would not be able to control sufficiently the occupied territory. Rest in peace, Mr. President, JFK. Through your wisdom and strength, since your tragic death, patriots have planned, installed, and by the grace of God, activated the beam of light. We will forever remember your sacrifice. May you look down from above and continue to guide us as we ring the bell of freedom, and destroy those who wish to sacrifice our children, our way of life, and our world. We, the people. This has never been attempted before. The use of the general public to counter the propaganda push by the controlled media. Analysis indicates that situational awareness of the general public is expanding at a massive pace. Attacks indicate the loss of generalized information control by the mainstream media. Military, and Civilian Alliance.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
The American populace is facing an unconventional warfare scenario. This is information warfare.